everybody. Welcome to the Shrimp City Report, Charleston's exclusive podcast on arts, entertainment, and leisure, and now sports. Anyway, that's an inside joke since we've had so much lately. We're here with Skinny McGee, and should we call you Skinny?
That's fine.
Okay. So I have my co-host and son, DJ, with me on this one, as always.
Hey, how's it going? DJ? It's nice to meet you, Mr. McGee.
Nice to meet you.
We're doing a series of these short podcasts that we call Shrimp Poppers. Mm-hmm. And those are going to be, we're going to do about 4 or 5 or 6 and ramp up to the big Rockabilly Q that's going to be in Park Circle, North Charleston, South Carolina. That's November 9th. Skinny's one of the featured acts, Skinny McGee and the Handshakes. And we're going to talk to him a little bit about his music and what we can expect at the show. So, Skinny, you are in Florida, Winter Haven. Is that what I read?
Yep, Winter Haven, Florida, right dead center of the state.
But you've also been up and down the East Coast a lot, right? Like Chattanooga and areas like that?
I'm from Chattanooga originally. Yeah. So, and it's funny, we've never played Chattanooga.
Oh, wow.
So you're all up and down the South then.
Yeah, we play all over, anywhere we can get to. We were previously known as Skinny McGee and the Mayhem Makers. Mm-hmm. And we got together in 1998 and we toured all over Europe, US, everywhere like that. And now it's Skinny McGee and the Handshake. It's me and one of the other members of the Mayhem Makers.
Is that Chris Bell?
That's Chris Bell.
Okay.
The infamous Chris Bell.
Was watching we'll talk about it later, but watching the videos and the harmonica, man, that really
it's a beast.
It is. It really is. It's dynamic, to say the least.
Yeah. He even pulled out, after watching that earlier today, he pulled out a harmonica, started playing to our dog, thinking he was hot stuff.
Yeah. I decided to learn harmonica at the drop of a hat. So.
There you go.
How'd you end up in Florida?
I've been here since I was 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, transplanted with my mom, and we moved farther south than south.
Right. Right.
So I've been in Central Florida since I was 10 years old.
So have you been playing since then?
Started playing in my first band that I had was in 1992. Mm-hmm. A band called the Rocket Rats with a friend of mine who's also on the new record. Marcus Brixa played a track with me, and he and I were in the Rocket Rats together. He's pretty much who taught me how to put chords together and play bass.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's great. It's Ricks, you said, was?
Brixa. Marcus Brixa. Yeah.
Okay. And he was
guitar player with me.
Is that the Chattanooga Trigger Man record, or which record is that?
Yes, that's the newest record is Chattanooga Trigger Man, and that's the album that Chris and I put out, but one of the tracks that was on there was put out as a single, and that was with Marcus, and that was I'll Ramble On.
Right, I listened to that earlier.
Yeah, that's Marcus on guitar.
That's, I gotta say, that is the epitome of a air quote room sound. That kind of sun standing around a microphone sound. It's very deep.
Thanks.
Very nice.
Thanks. We did all of that ourselves.
That's fantastic job.
Thanks.
When the Mayhem Makers broke up, did you plan on just is it easier to have a 2-person group at this point in your life, or?
No, when I did that, I didn't know what we were going to do. And I basically got rid of everybody. And then we took a few weeks, and Chris and I got together, and I said, you think you can play some of the lead stuff on the harmonica and play acoustic? Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't know, I'll try. So he strapped it around his neck like a collar, and away we went. He could do it. So I'm like, all right, well, let's see what we can put together.
That's funny.
We do a lot of the old Mayhem Makers tracks, most of which I've written. And then we started into writing new tracks to make it ours and featuring more of the harmonica.
I gotta say too, Skinny McGee and the Handshakes, compared to the title, the Mayhem Makers, I was thinking, okay, there's gonna be maybe a more chiller vibe, but you still have a ton of energy going through this music, and
Thanks.
that's really nice to see. Yeah,
It was. We were much wilder when we were younger, so
yeah.
we've been thrown out of many a place. So
those are good stories to tell now, but when you're in, like me, in my 50s, that's not a good thing to get
that's me too.
thrown out of places. Well, Rockabilly.
Yes, sir.
You were an early adopter of it. Did you just get that from your parents? Did you get it from friends? Were you just wanting to be different than all the punk and alternative from the early 90s?
Grew up in punk stuff coming up since I was little. Probably got my first record was probably Dead Kennedy's album.
Oh,
and then
awesome.
Fresh Fruit for Rotten Vegetables. We had a friend, my brother and I had a friend come over from England, and he was into like neo rockabilly back in the 80s and stuff. And he brought us a bunch of music. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, well, I got to figure that out.
So is that, I guess?
Well, Tim Polecat's playing.
Yeah.
The Polecats are playing, and that was one of the ones on the cassette tape,
Right. When I looked at lineup, I was like, there's a lot of bands with like serious Southeastern rap on there. And then I saw, is that the same Polecat,
Yes, Tim Polecat, yeah.
Have you played Rockabilly Q before?
Yes, we have. We played, the first one we played was as the Mayhem Makers, and we played at the Charleston one.
Right.
And it was when they had it over, when it was at the distillery and the brewery.
Yep, I remember.
I guess it was a relocation for them at the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we played at the brewery, and we were the last act on for the whole weekend. And we played like a 20-minute set. Drove to South Carolina, played a 20-minute set, loaded up, and drove home.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then we played twice now at the Florida Rockabilly Q in Immokalee.
The Florida one. We're of course familiar with Charleston because we're Charleston.
Right.
We actually live in Park Circle. We can walk to Rockabilly Q, and we go to all of them. The festival scene, I think, can be bewildering, but what they do with Rockabilly Q, keeping it small enough, curating the bands, carefully, and just not overdoing it. It's not like a festival where there's 12,000 people. It's really easy to get around there. I assume it's pleasurable to play those festivals.
Yeah, well, like I said, when we played the last one, it was at the different location, and I think it's a little bit different. But playing the two that we played for Simon in Immokalee have been brilliant. And that it is a free event is really remarkable.
There's always a ton of energy and ton of enthusiasm every time you go, and it's really nice to see.
Yeah, it is. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, so they'll have the whole street blocked off. They're going to have the car show going on. Everybody plays outside, which is really convenient. For the most part, except for like the pre-parties. So you don't have to go in. It's just
weather permitting.
Weather permitting, but this is a good opportunity to get some pedestrian fans, just folks rolling up and listening to that. It's like, so your music is more, it's rockabilly tinged, but there's still some of that country.
Yeah, country blues.
Boom pop, kind of sound. And so that, I think that translates really well, but it's still got so much authenticity, from the stuff that we've listened to.
Right.
And watched your videos. And by the way, what's that thing on your bass that looks like a drum head?
Yeah. Well, it's actually a little homemade drum that I made. And since we're just a two-piece, we make a lot of noise for two pieces, but it's actually a little homemade drum that I have a brush that connects to my hand. And while I'm playing bass on some of more the, what do you want to say, train-driven songs, I play this drum at the same time I play bass.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's really cool.
I'm over here just having trouble looking at two screens at once. I can imagine playing two instruments at once.
Well, now watching Chris Bell play guitar and a harmonica.
Yeah.
He gets all the kudos for that.
That's fascinating. It really is fascinating, the concentration that must be involved. So tell me about the new record while we have a few moments.
Yeah, we put it out. We've had this habit of recording on my birthday, which has been great because we recorded the last full-length album that we did as the Mayhem Makers. We recorded in 2005 at Sun Records in Memphis.
Holy smokes.
And then we recorded this last record. Chris and I recorded in my studio that I have set up in my home on my birthday. We got pretty much everything done in one day and then had to come back in and work on some stuff. But it's called Chattanooga Trigger Man. And it is out on vinyl. It's out on all of the platforms. We have it available 12-inch blue vinyl.
Right on.
Awesome. And, we'll have them for sale up there. And
it's such a throwback cover, by the way.
It is awesome.
Yeah, this album, that album, we did everything. Minus press, the vinyl itself, we did it all.
Now, those are also available online as well, too?
They're available through our website, which is skinnymcgee.rocks.
So you recorded that there. When you go into recording, do you obsess over every little thing, or do you set it and go? What's your preference?
We do it live with a couple of little overdubs and a couple of studio things. We'll come in. There's a couple of tracks where we came back in and added in some Nashville tuning guitar, which is a little bit of a higher sound guitar that makes things sound a little bigger to fill things out. For the most part, we recorded that live. So we did a lot of pre-production. All the songs but two are originals. So it was songs that I had written, and we just worked for weeks honing that in. So when we came in and got behind the microphones, we could hit record and go.
What songs did you cover?
The two songs that we covered were Liquor Store Blues by John Etsty and When the Levee Breaks by Memphis Minnie and Joe McCoy.
You know, our podcast is basically geared for everything in Charleston or the Low Country. Decent amount of tourists hit it. If you were to give someone that has no idea what rockabilly or your style of music is like, give us two performers that you think are absolutely essential to the genres.
Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, we like to get those little, input and kind of see where the artist is coming from. You know, you've spent years doing this.
Yeah, on and off. Break.
Well, yeah, I guess we always we all take breaks. But luckily for us, you're continuing to do this, and we're looking forward to seeing you there. It is skinnymcgee.rocks, correct?
Yep.
Anything else you want to plug coming up besides the Rockabilly Q Fest?
No, we just have our stuff going on down here right now. We're not playing anything on the way up there. We're going to slide in the day of and hang around and leave the next day. So.
Okay, cool.
We'll just be in and out. Hopefully you guys can come up and see us play so you can see Chris Bell on that harmonica and how that drum works.
We absolutely are going to see that live. That
absolutely.
Awesome.
I'll bring my harmonica and come step in.
All right. Yeah.
Anyways, can you take care? Yeah,
sign it for you.
We'll definitely see you there. We'll give you a holler and maybe drink a beer with you if you got a chance.
Yeah.
Cool beans.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Hey, appreciate it. You guys have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.